こんにちは、IGN ジャパンの野口です。今回の動画は、兵務の断崖におけるネルシュキュラの狩猟の模様を一部お届けいたします。私有の内容としましては、こちらの狩猟クエストに専念してくださいということで、この新しいエリアに関しては注意深く探索したりできませんでしたが、ホットドリンクが必要なことや、周辺の環境生物がどのようなものがいるかというのはご確認いただきます。そしてですね、僕は、片手剣と総中根を選んでプレイしてきました。ということで OBT 皆さん楽しんでいると思いますが、今週末にも第2回 OBT、開かれますので、その合間にですね、ぜひ楽しんでいってください。それでは行ってみましょう。はい、ということで始まりましたが、狩猟にすぐ向かう前にですね、ホットドリンクと同じ、性能、効能を持つ環境生物がいたので、ぜひそちらご確認ください。このホカホカコロモムシですね。これを取得することで、ホットドリンクと同じ効果を得ることができるので、ポーチなくても一安心です。と言ってる合間に、はい、ネルシュキュラのご登場です。モンスターハンターダブルクロス以来の登場ということで、発表当時も湧いていましたが、僕はダブルクロスはやっていなくて、4もちゃんと最後までやっておらず、ネルシュキュラの記憶も当時のままで、攻撃のモーションの違いというのは正直あまり分かってないです。新しいモーションもどれかちょっと判別つかないような状態なので、このモーション新しいとか、ここ注目ポイントだよみたいなところがあれば、よろしければコメントでお力添えください。すでにお気づきな方いるかもしれません。僕、片手剣結構付け焼き場ですね。アイスボーンの時にちょっと触っていたぐらいで、今回その武器調整の一部、製品版への使用が一部適用されているということで、僕が唯一ちゃんとできるのはジャストスラッシュぐらいなので、このジャストスラッシュのレスポンスがもしかしたら OBT と比べたら向上してるかもしれないので、ご注目ください。はい、というわけでここから総中根のフェーズになってきますが、今回ですね、総中根の総裁が実装されていた私有ビルドだったので、もうこれを試すのにめちゃくちゃ時間をかけました。 一生この総裁を当てることに専念しすぎて、片手剣の新しいモーションの変化っていう部分も知ってはいたんですけど、全然試す時間なくてですね、全部こちらに費やしてきました。で、この編集では、総裁を、成功している場面は1場面しかないんですが、後ほど出てきます。で、総中根での、プレイフィールに関しては、この間 IGN ファーストで公開したビルドとそこまで変わりはなくてですね、武闘跳躍が復活してっていうところが OBT との違いで、他の部分で特に大きな操作性の違いといった部分はないんですが、武器性能の差によって、両中の戻るタイミングが遅いとか速いとか、そういうところでの違いはありました。で、今回のその総中根の総裁なんですけども、このため切りの間に出ます。ため切りの一振り目に発生します、その総裁の判定が。で、その後のモーションに関しては総裁判定が残っていないので、一振り目でかっちりと相手の攻撃に合わせて放つ必要があるということで、結構難しく感じましたね。慣れたらね、意外とすんなりいくっていうことはあると思うんですけど。はい、ようやくね、成功できた場面が出てきましたが、総裁をできたからといって、敵との距離とか、あと敵の攻撃のモーションによって、大きなリターンが得られるわけじゃないということが分かっていただけたかなと思います。もちろんですね、めちゃくちゃちょうどいい距離で当てたりすると、その後の、元々のため切りのモーションが全部当たる状態になるので、そこから規定な潜在につなげて大ダメージを狙うとかは、もちろんできますね。やっぱりこの総裁を出すのに必要な条件として赤 X がないとため切りができないというのがあるので、そのあたりで結構運用が難しそうだなというのは正直な感想ですね。はい、ということでまさかのポールダンスフィニッシュを決めて自分でも驚いたんですが、最後に総評を述べておしまいにしようと思います。今回今のところワイルズには2体の雲型の大型モンスターいますが、ラバラバアリーナとの大きな違いはこのなんというか高さですね。頭身の違いというのはあります。ラバラバアリーナは結構こう足をですね伸ばして動いてる場面が多くて、結構ねカメラに見上げることが多いんですけども、対してネルスキュラに関しては、プレイヤーと同じような目線というか、人と同じぐらいの目線で戦うことになるので、そのあたりでの違いは結構大きなものがありましたし、同じ雲型といえど全然放ってくるモーションが違い、ラバラバアリーナに関しては結構ね遠距離でも いやらしいデバフをですね巻いてくるので、広範囲に影響する攻撃が特徴でしたが、ネルシュキュラに関してはそこまでそういった要素はなくてですね、結構対人、対マン性能高いみたいな印象でしたね。ユニークな突進が直線的であったりとか、大ぶりな鎌みたいなモーションもあるんですけども、あれが唯一広い範囲を持っていて、他は結構点の攻撃が多いので、そういった点の攻撃の連携をいろいろ織り交ぜてきた1対1での戦闘を得意とするようなモンスターという印象を持ちました。あと特に今回僕が総裁をすごい試してたからっていうのもあるんですけど、結構その大ぶりなモーションが多いので、総裁とかジャスガを試す相手としては非常にやりやすい大型モンスターだったですし、意図的にそういったタイミングをですね設けているような意図も感じたので、そういったジャスガ、総裁を試す相手としても非常にいい相手になってくれると思うので、そういったところをね意識しながら、狩猟してみると非常にユニークな狩猟体験になるんじゃないのかなとは感じました。
くさんいるね。僕はこの攻撃に任せて。ご確認を。嫌な感じ。
Hello everyone, Jesse Gomez here with IGN, and today we'll be checking out some of my battle encounter highlights with Narcilla, a deadly and rather nasty looking beast for the soon to be released Monster Hunter Wilds. Unfortunately, due to an embargo, I can't show the entire gameplay segment without some commentary. However, I hope that my gameplay will give you a good idea of what it's like to face off against this creepy crawler. So, let's get into it. Part arachnid, part crustacean, while clearly lacking the delicious taste of the latter, the Narcilla was a troublesome foe to go up against, primarily because of its deadly trio of special attacks, consisting of webbed, poison, and sleep-based offensive maneuvers. Plus, it doesn't help that good old Nursey has a pair of extendable pincers that often like to make an appearance during the battle. Gross. However, for this fight, I decided to challenge myself and go with an equipment loadout that I'm not too familiar with, that being the longsword. Personally, I'm more of a dual blades kind of fella, especially because of those continuous demon mode attacks. But the longsword appealed to me because of 1, its reach, and 2, its swifter and more powerful combo potential, largely because what I was wielding made use of the fire element, something that Narcilla is thankfully weak to. Also, don't be shy to make use of pitfall traps like the one I just used here. They might take a bit of time to set up but can prove to be invaluable during the heat of battle, since your allies and yourself can score a bunch of free hits until it escapes free. As expected though, a battle of this magnitude can easily get out of hand when you've got an unfamiliar monster in your face, nasty babies, and other friendly NPCs being thrown into the mix. So this is where the brand new focus mode comes into play, which when activated allows you to precisely aim your attacks or guards to whatever direction your camera is facing, thanks to that crosshair you might have noticed in the middle of the screen. Plus, focus mode allows you to strategically strike at each monster's weakness, which comes in handy whenever a wound appears on your enemy, as this is the easiest way to unleash an absolutely killer maneuver, which you can do when you spot those glowing red spots. But it won't just be Narcilla that you're going up against, as this creature has a penchant for sending out little hatchlings to cause chaos during the battle. They're not entirely overbearing, but can certainly get in your way when you're trying to deal with, well, the bigger problem at hand. Another boon within my arsenal was that of the SOS Flare, which before or during a quest can be fired off to invite up to 3 other real-life hunters to join my party. However, I had no friends to join me, so instead, Wilds will conjure support hunters to aid you in battle, which is what happened here. The in-law reason is that these support hunters are other NPC units from the expedition team you're a part of. So during this battle, I had numerous helping hands of all types of different builds, lending their aid to take down Narcilla. This was a super useful tactic to deploy before battle, as, and although this may sound wrong, they proved to be fantastic distractions, allowing me to line up easy hits here and there. And there we have it. One freshly slain Narcilla. If you liked what you've watched and want even more Monster Hunter Wilds, why not check out our final preview? And for everything else, you're already in the right place with IGN.
Now we've stumbled upon Nursilla here. So yeah, what made you choose this monster of all monsters that you could have, brought a fan favorite back from a prior game? What stood out about Nursilla?
はい、まず強化種のモンスター、ちょっと他のモンスターの
We first off wanted to introduce a Temnoceran type monster into Monster Hunter Wilds, and for starters we began with Lullabarina. And Lullabarina was a perfect monster to kind of have the users play as like a tutorial to learn about how you can change the camera angle so that you can slay it efficiently, because it has very tricky and fast movements. And to add on to that, we wanted to have a monster that will be a little bit more challenging, that uses various elements so that you will have to really think about your tactics about slaying this monster, and we thought the Nursilla was the perfect monster for it.
また今回潮流種のゲリオスというモンスターを
We also had plans of having Gypsyros as the returning monster, and because Nursilla hunts Gypsyros and uses its skin on its body, we thought that it was a very good example to show the food chain ecosystem of the monsters, and we thought Nursilla was a very perfect fit.
It's a very creepy monster, and yeah, once you know what's going on, what it's wearing on its back, it's pretty unsettling. Oh, looks like
寝ました
put him to sleep. Put him to sleep. So that's a great time to pull out some bombs, I would think.
Wait, I got
And
one
real
too.
quiet. And the Palico comes in with an extra bomb to help out.
音も入るの。
オトマイルだったりサポートハンターも
Oh no!
It's got the body.
Like bowling and only getting the far right pin, but it's still a point on the board. It still counts.
そうですね。そうなんです。物理計算してますので
It's got actual physics
Oh yeah, yeah.
in it, so.
For better or worse, you might miss. But that was a cool dodge there too. The bow, like keeping action, keeping active, mobile. A great counterpoint to the hunting horn, which is a little slower, more methodical. You got to think about every single movement from a close distance to get hits. But the bow, obviously, very agile.
あとこの今小さい雲とかもいますけど、こういった
On the screen right now, we can see many small spider-type monsters, and there may be players who are not very comfortable with that. So we added a feature which you can access through the options, where it allows you to turn on the arachnophobia mode, which will change the appearance of the small monsters. It will not have an effect on the large monsters like Nursilla, because Nursilla uses its specific body parts for attacks, and we didn't want to change the experience for that. So if you go into the options, you can change the appearance of the small monsters.
Nice. And I see Blake summoned 4 computer-controlled hunters with the SOS flare. So new to Monster Hunter Wilds, if you're playing offline or solo mode, you can come in, summon some help there to take the heat off you in the middle of a battle. So they brought in, their own weapons, got the hebiboougon firing up into the sky. Oh,
でこの救難信号ってかなり序盤から上げること
You
がで
can
きます
also use the SOS flare fairly early on from the game. So even if you are not very used to playing Monster Hunter, you can shoot up the SOS flare and hunt with your friends, people from all over the world, or with NPC support hunters.
くれますので。
and we just saw Blake make good use of targeting a wound and then dealing enough damage to that wound and getting a big hit there, which is great. And there were some other weapon balances and changes from community feedback that you got in as well. I'm curious to hear some about how that last test went and some implementation of that.
We had many adjustments. We are planning on many adjustments for each of the weapon types, and there are some weapons that have additional movements, like the lance, that will be featured in the product version. But taking example for like the bow, if you use focus strike, the earlier versions of the game allowed you to, if you use the focus strike, just marks all the wounds available on the monster. But if you're playing with other players, it might interfere with their gameplay. It may not be really satisfactory. So we changed it a little bit, tweaked it so that when you are using the focus strike with the bow, it slowly marks the wounds and not all at once. So those are some of the adjustments that we made for the bow.
そうですね。例えばシュルーブ
For the hunting horn, there were some concerns about when you strengthen yourself, when you use a nose to strengthen yourself, it wasn't much of a. It was really effective, but we want to bring it to the same level at least as Monster Hunter World, and then start that as a base, and that applies for all the other weapons as well.
まあランスとかで言っても、
We also, for example, taking the lance, for example, when you have like a counterattack using your shield, you really have to watch the movements of the monsters and then use that effectively to deal double damage. So we also added those as well.
Yeah. It looks like Blake succeeded and Nursel is down. The hunters are clapping away. Job well done. But any closing thoughts? We're just a few weeks away from launch on PS5, February 28th. But yeah, any final notes for players looking forward to launch?
そうですね。まあちょっと発売もだいぶ近づいてきましたけど。
We are approaching not launch, but we do have post-launch plans to have title updates for this title. So even after launching the game, we hope everybody keeps their eyes on upcoming news about Monster Hunter Wilds.
Great. Thanks so much for joining us, and excited to play on February 28th. And thanks for watching, and we'll be back with more soon.
Thank you.
A couple of weeks ago, I got to go to Capcom's headquarters to check out a preview version of Monster Hunter Wilds. While I was there, I got to play the beginning hours of the game, and eventually I was allowed to face off against Nursilla, which is one of the monsters that I like a lot from Back and 4 Ultimate due to the fact that it actually utilized all of the verticality that we got with that game. She could go like to the ceiling or to the top of vines and then drop poison on you from her back, or she could also burrow beneath you depending if that area had like cobwebs or vines as well, and she could kind of like strike from below, which was really cool the way that she just utilized verticality back then. And she could also web sling like friggin' Spider-Man, which she can also do here, which is pretty cool. And she also does the thing where she goes below the cobwebs and all of that. You guys will see that in the gameplay footage. Now, earlier today I did a live stream where I went over all of my footage that I brought back from the preview, and I talked about everything that I could remember about the preview without getting into any spoiler territory. I do talk about all the monsters that I faced off in there, which were all already announced at this point. But yeah, if you guys want to know more about the preview event, if you guys want to know about all of that, that live stream is there. And here I'm going to be focusing on the Nursilla gameplay that you guys are watching in the background, which is awesome. Now, obviously, I'm going to be fighting her with my gun lance. This is the Chemitrice gun lance, which is one of the really, really cool designs that I saw while I was out there. One of the things that I really like about this gun lance is, as you will notice from the gameplay, it has a unique reload animation, and it also has slightly stronger shelling than some of the other gun lances that were available in the beta, so naturally I just have to craft this one and have at it. It is a normal shelling gun lance, so it's usually played more in a full burst style, which is also very good with the Wyvern State full blast combo, or whatever it's called. I'm never going to be able to memorize that thing because I'm a big boomer. But yeah, it was a ton of fun to do this hunt. I love the fact that she's got little spiderlings that kind of like stagger you a little bit while you're fighting her. I love her moves. I felt like I killed her a little bit faster than I would have liked. But, you know, I still feel like that might just be something that's kind of like a part of the preview build. Now, in terms of the footage that you guys are watching, you might be wondering, is this from PC, PlayStation? And most likely, a lot of the preview footage that you will have watched today on YouTube is going to be from base PlayStations. Not PlayStation Pros, standard PlayStation 5s. So, that is the performance you're going to be getting. In my case, this is running in frame rate mode, so it is trying to squeeze out as many frames as it possibly can while sacrificing a little bit of visual quality. If you guys want to check it out in quality mode, I believe that Eric's Gaming and Rage Gaming were recording it in quality mode, so it's going to be like 30 FPS 4K. You guys might notice that in the video, I did stretch this out to 4K because I just want the quality to be as best as possibly can. I did not upscale it or up-res it or use any of those techniques. I just stretched out the image because that's going to allow me to push more bitrate onto YouTube to make it look as close as it's going to look on your own TV at home. Now, I did have to change a couple of things here, which is I had to increase the contrast a little bit. This is because of some recording hiccups that I ran into. I think the color space might have been wrong because the colors that I was watching on the monitor were not the same colors that I was watching on the recorded footage. So I changed it up a little bit. You can see the raw stuff on the live stream if you're curious about what it looked. But in here, I wanted to present something that was closer to what I actually watched on screen. But anyway, that's all of the stuff that I wanted to tell you. Enjoy the gameplay. If you guys enjoy this, do leave a like. I'm going to be also uploading gameplay footage of Rompopolo as well as Duna, because I find that those are like the 3 hunts that are probably more meaningful, because Congalala, kind of like really easy. Chemitrice is really cool though. I kind of almost want to upload Chemitrice footage, but because of the embargo restrictions, I didn't save up too much Chemitrice because I wanted to use up all of my gameplay on these more meaningful monsters, but I still really enjoyed the Chemitrice fight. Just, you know, a low-rank Chemitrice, kind of like really easy, but still fun. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Have fun.
So on to Nasilla, the original Temnoceran. She is taking up residence here in the newly announced Ice Shard Cliffs. A beautiful, beautiful zone, which I am not going to explore too deeply today. But you will see some as we run to and fro and we chase her after her. So enjoy. So what some of you might immediately notice is that I'm playing with the lance during this hunt, and I will be playing with some hunting horn towards the end. However, I have not adapted my mentality from Monster Hunter World very well. It's kind of hard to rewire several thousand hours worth of game time in just a short session. But I will say that in this build, without going into too much detail, the power guard does seem to be back, which, if I remember correctly, was not quite that way in the beta. They seem to have shifted things around a little bit, so that's interesting.
Looks angry.
before we finish off Nasilla with the hunting horn, I did want to take a second to thank Capcom again for the wonderful opportunity. Guys, I cannot stress enough how good this game is going to be. It is going to blow your socks off. If you're a fan of World and the direction that took with Monster Hunter, even more so. But genuinely, this is a banger game. Yeah, no, I had a wonderful time, and both these fights were very good. Tomorrow there will be more content with my first several hours of the game. You'll get to see my progression. But in general, expect lots of Monster Hunter content here if I can make it. I'll try to do some ecology and maybe even some endemic life videos. But in general, I'd like to be more active on my YouTube again. It's been a long time, and, you know, some of you have stuck around, so thank you for that. Anyway, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you want some more of this stuff.
Hello, welcome back to PlayStation Access. My name is Dave, and I'm joined today by Rosie.
Hello, everyone.
And Rosie is here because she has been playing Monster Hunter Wilds.
Yes.
In fact, you went to Capcom's office in London to play it, right?
I did, yes. I went to a preview event, and I got to play... This isn't the final build of the game, but a build of the game.
Yep.
And as you can see, I got to fight some pretty big monsters.
I'm hoping there was a bit of preamble, Rosie, before you got into this, because
Nope.
this has started action heavy.
Well, I mean, there was a little bit of a run-up to it, but I was literally like, let's just dive straight in there, fighting this massive monster, which is called a Nerscylla. I really hope I pronounced it correctly. But as you can see, it's a massive spider creature with all of its little spider pals, and it does a whole variety of attacks. And when I went to the last preview event, I felt like this was the toughest monster that I fought so far.
Right.
Because as you can see, it jumps, it has webs that can like start you for a bit, it dives like that, and it has
Yeah.
this little wing so it glides a little bit, it's got an extending attack, it's got poison. The environment means sometimes that you can get like just bombarded with loads of little spiders. There was so much to consider in this fight, but I had an absolutely great time with it.
It's extremely mobile, isn't it? I mean, you've just described all its different like movesets, but it's very, for a big creature, it seems to be getting around and posing a lot of threats.
Oh yeah, it does not mess around. Like, look, it's just fully after me. When you see, Dave, that little like icon in the middle of the screen, that means that I'm aiming, because when you aim, you can see like a weak spot of the enemy for when you cause enough damage. And if you hit that with a specific attack, that means you do a really cool, like, strong attack. So if you see me trying to aim for a little red area on it, that's why I'm like, I'm going to aim for that weak spot and get it.
Am I right in saying, Rosie, that you are kind of a Monster Hunter beginner?
Yeah, so literally I've only played a bit of Rise and a bit of World, so I'm still very fresh to the world of Monster Hunter, but I feel like with this, I like to think I've picked it up pretty well.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely a complete noob when it comes to Monster Hunter, so I'm kind of intrigued to hear, to see how you've got on and to hear about your experiences of it, because it's such a cool game. And, you know, fans of the series are just you can only be like a huge fan of the series. I don't think you can have a passing interest. And I want some of that. And like looking at this monster design and this just epic battle, it just seems like something I would really enjoy. So I'm intrigued to know like how you found it and how you've picked up the game.
Yeah, honestly, I've been having a blast, like, because, you know, I'm still very new to this series and everything. You are going to see me using a fair bit of potions, and also this was my first time using this weapon. So when I did the preview last year, I used a switch axe, whereas this time I've used a bloomin' great big sword, because I thought I'd spice it up a bit. And just like my character in Elden Ring, sometimes I just like wielding a really big sword.
Yeah.
So it wasn't actually the most ideal thing for this fight, because my attacks, they're strong but very slow.
Yes.
And as you can see, this enemy is very speedy, very agile, very quick. So when I did hit it, it was like I felt really happy. I was like, yes, I've got it. But it did also mean that if I was charging up an attack, that was enough, and it was already doing an animation. That's it. I could be massively hit.
Yeah. And how, is this part of a quest, or is this just something, are you just out in the world finding monsters?
So this is a quest. So the quest that we were on for this preview was to hunt this Nasilla. So literally, I popped up and it said, quest begin. Go fight it. And I was like, off I go then. So before the fights, you can prepare with potions and everything. But essentially it is, you're going in there to slay this monster and just adapt to what it is that's coming. As you can see right now, the monster, so what it does is when it reaches a certain point in its health, it will move to a different location.
Right.
So this has now moved to its second area, which is more of like its web area.
It's like its home.
Yeah, and as you can see, it can get stuck in it. When I was at the event, the representative from Capcom was like, oh, what spider gets stuck in its own web, idiot?
Yeah, it's a fair point.
Which did make me feel better. I was like, yeah, that's right. I'm doing well in this, I think. So you've got different environments that you're going to be fighting in. And also, depending on the environment, you can sometimes have moments where you can grapple up on the ceiling and then you can maybe get the drop on the monster or do some traps. You see that had a little, glowing light thing that we just ran past. If you trigger that, then there's like a massive flash that can daze the enemies, which I didn't do with the big monster, but I did it with a bunch of little spiders that were running around. And I was like, come here, I want to see what this does. And they all got really dazed. But because of this different environment, it can also go underneath the web as well, which I thought was terrifying, and I didn't like that move.
No.
And just look at it, it's so big, and you can see this is an example of using a really strong attack on when it gets a weak point from your damage.
Yes.
So when you see my character run along the side of it as if it's just, got a drumstick and put it against some tins or something. Did you do that as a kid? But
no, I have no idea what you're on about.
You know when it goes like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, I understand.
Like a gate, that's it. That's what I'm talking about, a gate. Yeah, when I do that move, that's because I've hit one of its weak points, which is highlighted in red.
Yes.
And that's the super strong attack that I can do. So let's see if I just missed it there. I just hit the top of its leg.
And what is the move you need to do to hit the weak points? Is that something you have to charge up, or is it just available? You just have to get in the right position. It's just difficult to land.
So you have to aim at the weak point. So you kind of go into a focus mode, which is when the cursor in the middle pops up. So when you're aiming, and then when you hit it with, I believe it's R1, that's what will trigger the focus attack on it.
Right.
And they're just really satisfying to pull off. It's really satisfying to just every now and then examine to see what areas are weak from the damage you've been causing it, and then just to try and go in there and get it.
Yeah. Oh, like that, right? Oh,
right.
There we go.
There we go. Look at that.
Nice.
Big damage. It's all stumbled in the webs. And also you've got your Palico who helps you out as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the Palico.
Yes. So they can be really handy because, for example, in this fight, there's a moment where I get poisoned. And if I'm poisoned, my Palico may be able to say, let's take that status effect off you, and then can heal me from the poison, rather than me having to try and drink a potion or an antidote and something to try and heal myself. Because when you're fighting, you've got a lot on your plate at the moment.
There's a lot to think about, yeah. Is the Palico completely AI controlled, or can you give them any kind of instructions?
I believe it's completely AI controlled. I'm not sure about that, to be fair, because in this build we didn't delve into the settings or anything like that. But I was just happy that they were there to be by my side.
Certainly in this fight, you weren't telling the Palico to do anything. It was just helping you out.
It was just helping me out, yeah, which I greatly appreciated because also this was me going into a battle solo, so the game will be having multiplayer, but in this preview build we only did single player.
Right.
So the whole time I was fighting, I was there thinking, God, imagine if I had some other hunters here right now. Imagine if I had a hunter with a ranged weapon. That would be nice.
Oh, ranged weapon would be good here.
So this was... You may see that I've done a transition to the same web area, but that's because when it run off after I just fought it previously, I only hit it once or twice, and then it was like, I've had enough, I'm going back. And I was like, you know what, I don't think I need to show me just running up, hitting it twice, and it goes, no, I'm sorry, I'm going back to my web. So this is essentially the fourth section of the fight, so this is where I was really hoping that I was getting to the final phases, because as you fight and it moves around, you can see it's weaker, it's not moving as nimbly as it did, but bless it, it's still giving it its all in the fight.
Yeah, I don't know if you need to bless it. It's horrible and it needs to be destroyed.
Oh, honestly, spiders are the things that, they just freak me out. So when I saw this, I thought, oh no.
Yeah, it's kind of like a spider met a crab or something. It's quite crispy. I'm not into it at all. But is that a stamina bar at the top in the yellow?
So, yes, the yellow is your stamina bar, and then the green, which is now flashing purple, that's your health. So it's flashing purple at the moment because I've been poisoned. But in order to heal, you can have, like, rations, which tends to be meat, or you've got your potions. But for your potions, you need to finish drinking it in order to fully heal. It's not as if you can just press it and they go,
and it's done.
And it's done. They have to fully sip it, because there were a lot of moments where I started sipping a potion, enemy came to attack me, I dodged, and then I actually healed less because of it. So as you can see here, I rolled and it didn't heal me as much as it could have done.
Yes, sure.
Which is a mechanic I really, really liked. But this is when I thought, oh god, it's up there. Is there anything I can do with it? Again, I really wish I had a ranger or something.
Yeah.
But I didn't need a ranger because...
No way.
Oh, nearly there.
There we go. Strong wide slash.